was wire hangers doing in this closet when I told you? No wire hangers ever! $300 dress on a wire hanger! We'll see how many you got in here. We're gonna see how many wire hangers you've got in your closet.
Tell me what?
Yes, Mommie Dearest.
When I asked you to call me that, I wanted you to mean it.
I think we both collectively agree to go with this film because it was kind of different than the other films on this list. You don't want to be too repetitive where it's like, oh, this big budget movie and this big budget movie is so bad, or this low budget movie and this low budget. This is kind of like a medium budget film. It's not an action film. It's not a film with like a bunch of like, you know, hugely memorable scenes. Although there is one memorable scene. No more wire hangers. That's just a classic line. But it's just so odd, you know. And are you a fan of Crawford, Joan Crawford, at all?
Well, you know, I don't call myself a fan per se, but I certainly have enjoyed her in movies. She's in some great movies. I haven't made a point of trying to see all her movies, but she's certainly somebody who I have enjoyed.
Yeah, I'm actually a pretty big fan of hers. Not hers singularly, but in a lot of movies she's in. She was in a lot of good movies. Not a huge fan of hers, but I'm aware of her work and I have seen a lot of her work. Yeah. So it was kind of interesting to see like a biopic. But this biopic is so silly and so over the top. And the ending is so atrocious where it's just like, I forgot the exact line, but when like, you know, when the kids realize that Crawford isn't going to give them any of the money, and then the son is like, oh, I guess no one will know. And then the daughter is like, won't they?
Yeah,
and she looks at the camera, won't they? It's like, what are we doing here? You know?
Yeah.
And even in her attempts to paint her mother as a terrible person, which I don't deny, her mother may have been a terrible person. There's rumors that she was a sexual predator, that she tried to seduce Marilyn Monroe, but Marilyn Monroe didn't want to like go that way because I guess Crawford was bisexual. They claim everyone was bisexual back then. They claim it was like Rome back then. Even guys like Harvey Weinstein, that was his excuse in a lot of interviews prior to him getting taken down. It's like, oh, I wish it was the old days where like, you know, he kind of implied that like men like him could have sex with actresses to be in his movies and stuff like that. Because when you go back and see some of the interviews, it's like, man, he kind of like led you to a trail of breadcrumbs that we should have seen what Harvey was up to the whole time. But that was the truth back then. A lot of these producers and directors, they would just have sex with these women. There was even a term called the 5 o'clock girls, I think was a term, where it's just like every evening, like producers and directors would have sex with a bunch of starlets that wanted to have parts in their movies and stuff like that. Or the 12 o'clock girls. It was some kind of time blank girls. I don't know if it was like the noon girls or 12 o'clock girls or 5 p.m., something like that. But there was a terminology for it, for like when they would have sex with these groupies. And actors weren't above it either. There was supposedly like Laurence Olivier. A lot of these actors were bisexual and sexual predators. So they didn't get into that with her, but those are some of the worst things I heard about her, is her predator ways. But again, who knows how much this is true? A, they could get away with it, so it's plausible a lot of these stories are true. But B, because you don't have like social media and receipts to way to track things, who knows how much of this stuff is actually true or made up. And I find it interesting too for myself. I get to a certain age and I talk to younger people and I tell them stuff that are facts and they're like, wait a minute, that person did that or this and that. And you realize like over the passage of time, like as you get older, it's like, yeah, like some of these things that like, even if there are recordings of them or like things that you think is common knowledge, a generation or two haven't even heard of it, didn't even know it happened, you know, just with the passage of time. But there were a lot of rumors of her being a terrible person, but I think this felt like her daughter doing a hit job on the mother. But I didn't even think she did a great job of doing a hit job, because I mean, Crawford came off unlikable if that was the daughter's intention, but the daughter didn't come off that likable either. And I don't know, it just felt like kind of like, keep your family affairs to yourself type thing, you know? It's just like, she didn't give you a lot of her money when she died. Maybe she was a little insecure, but like, did she really deserve a hit job like this? She did adopt you. you did live a life of luxury, even though like she could have given you more of her money. Maybe she spent it too much on herself, but you know, she earned it. Maybe it's her right, you know? I don't know. To me, it just felt like a hit job, and I didn't think anyone looked good.
It's interesting. I guess that is one of the first questions that we have to ask is how much do we believe this? You know, like this is based on the book. It's based on the daughter's experiences. But yeah, it is kind of curious that, you know, you go in and you expect a lot of really bad things to happen. And there certainly are some moments where bad things happen, but it's not quite as much as you expect. You expect it to go further in a way. And so, you know, I can't help but think probably most of us have memories of things happening, you know, our parents getting angry with us and, you know, saying something or doing something that maybe wasn't cool, you know, that maybe sticks out in our memory. And all these years later, we still think about it. And, you know, we could write a book and, you know, make our parents look bad for those isolated moments. But, you know, was it really all bad like that? Or was it just, you know, were there isolated moments where things were bad? You know, and do we think she's embellishing these moments? Did they happen the way she said they did? You know, it's hard to say. Mm-hmm. But for me, the movie is, you know, it's almost not really a bad movie because it's well done, you know.
This movie's atrocious.
It's well, but it's a slickly made movie. It's got good actors in it. You know, it's not a, you know, it's not like
Did we see the same movie? Did we see the same? Faye Dunaway, she is so campy in this movie. She is so, I mean, she looked like she was having the time of her life, but there's no way you can look at her performance and take it serious. She was so over the top, and even the most casual scenes, she was like on a stage playing to like the person in the back row of like a Wembley Stadium or something, you know. She's so over the top.
Yes, that's true. She is over the top, but I think she's very good at it. I think she's very good at being over the top. And,
yes, she is.
It's interesting. John Waters commented that he doesn't think it's a bad movie. He doesn't think it's so bad it's good. He thinks it's so good it's perfect. That's his comment.
You know what?
And
again, this is someone who you would think of when you think of John Waters because of the way Joan Crawford plays it, like a drag queen almost. You know, it's like very flamboyant and over the top, and in the hands and the hair flipping and turning, and even the scene where she has like that what's that white stuff that women use on their face to cold cream or something. Sure. Where she has like the lipstick on and the cold cream on, looking like a clown. You know, and just like I got the scene with her. It's so long. It's just like, and she's overacting like a clown. It's just like I don't know, man. I just viewed this as a comedy. I was just laughing out loud so many times. This was like a really long comedy to me.
Yeah, well, it's interesting because before I heard John Waters say that, I thought to myself a couple of times, this is almost like a scene from a John Waters movie, you know. And there's a character, I think, in Desperate Living who spends the whole movie yelling. You know, she's always yelling at people. And I felt like there were moments in this movie that were like that. The character was just yelling over the top. And I thought, you know, I could see why John Waters would love this movie. And it sort of fits right in with his style in a way.
Yeah, I bet his favorite two performances was Joan Crawford in this and Uma Thurman in Batman and Robin, because they both look like they belong in John Waters films.
Could be. But I don't know. Like, I think it's not, you know, bad in the same sense of, you know, Manos, The Hands of Fate, or some other low budget movie where we see, you know, terrible technical issues and, you know, it looks good. It looks like a good movie. It's, you know, but it has these moments that are so over the top that you can't deny that, that's kind of a bad moment, you know. Mm-hmm. But it's not, for me, it's not a sort of one laugh after the other kind of movie. It's more like isolated moments of insanity and then other scenes that are kind of just okay, you know. So I enjoy it, but I I wouldn't call it, my favorite of these type of movies.
I think I thought this was worse than you did. I just
Yeah.
every time Crawford, every time what's her name, Dunaway was on screen, Faye Dunaway, I was just laughing. I just thought her performance was just so silly and over the top. But I do agree with you in that there are lots of different types of bad, and that's why I specifically wanted this list to be so varied in the type of movies. You have the movies where you have no excuse. You have all the actors and all the budgets and all the IP, like Batman and Robin, you still made a bad movie. You have where you have nothing, you have no resources, you have no money, you just have like a robe with hands on it. Just making a movie is the accomplishment. Yes, it's bad, but you're accomplished, you still won because you somehow made a movie with your limited resources. There you have that type of bad. And to me, you have this type of bad, which is very different in that this shit sucks, but this is what you wanted. It's like, this shit is so over the top and so crazy. It's bad, but you didn't fail because you achieved what you wanted, but what you wanted to achieve was bad. It's just like, I don't know if that makes any sense, but it's just like, you wanted these over the top scenes. This is like a melodrama. Now, I know people use that term melodramatic, but melodrama is actual genre of film. And it was an actual genre of film, I think really in the 30s. And then after that, it was just more so dramas. And then it became a derogatory term over time. And it's known in the lexicon as like melodramatic, as oh, you're being over the top. This is a melodrama. This movie belongs in, if this movie was made in the 30s, yeah, it'd be a 5-star hit. But people don't make melodramas anymore, especially when this was made, I think like in the early 80s. It's like, you're making a melodrama in the early 80s? This is 1932. Like, why are you making a melodrama where like every minor thing is like, oh my God, the wire hangers. It's like, why isn't this floor clean? It's like every scene is just so over the top. It's like, whoa, like, what are we doing here? Let's take that down like 20 notches type thing. But to me, that's why this is hilarious, because that was their intention. But why is your intention to make a melodrama in 1981? Like, no, like, you could take that down 20 notches, and then if you're trying to make a serious movie, then people will take you seriously. Or you can just make it a little bit more goofy and just make an actual comedy. But they're kind of in this weird in-between space where you're not supposed to be laughing, but they're so over the top. How can you take them seriously? And again, they intended to do that, so you can't say it's a Manos. You can't say it's a Batman and Robin because they didn't fail. There wasn't a boom mic in the screen. There wasn't bad line readings. There was over the top line readings, but they meant it to be over the top. So for me, this is a very distinctive type of bad movie, and I think that's why I like it, but I also do think it's bad.
Fair enough. It's almost like a type of movie, an expose or a movie of the week that they might have made, where they are taking somebody famous and kind of showing you the dark side of this famous person, and the kind of thing they might have made for TV. But it's not made for TV. It's a big, lush, theatrical movie, and it goes so much further in ways than those TV movies would have. So it is hard to imagine, what was the intended audience in a way. Is it just those people who are curious to see, how bad was Joan Crawford? How crazy is she? Are people just tuning in for that? Or is it something more? Is it like, no, we're looking for a more serious experience with this movie? Mm-hmm. I don't know, but it is a fairly unique movie.
I was looking for sex scandals, child abuse. I got the fact that she hated wire hangers and she wanted her floors to be sparkling clean. Oh my God. How dare she? It's like, okay.
Yeah.
Some expose that is.
Yeah.
Christina, darling, I'm gonna make a perfect life for you. Are you having a happy birthday, Christina, darling?
This is the best party I ever had. I love you, Mommie Dearest.
I love you, Tina, darling.